But I think that students probably should be a lot more vocal about it because it's a real issue and it's a real concern.
It's definitely gotten worse just because I'd say of my location where I live, because I lived in CCRH, and so going to Central was really easy and I loved that. Um, but now I live in L&L and it's more difficult because I either go to Harris Millis or I go to Central, but you can't really go. I couldn't go to the Marche that much.
I live in U Heights South, and we don't have like a very accessible dining hall. The only one would probably be the Harris Millis Dining Hall, and that's sort of notorious for not having a ton of healthy options and being kind of crowded and not the best place to be. So I thought in order to avoid going there and having that be my main place to eat, I would instead get on points and be able to go to the Marche, Skinny Pancake, Brennan's, and a lot of the places in Davis, which is usually where I go. And then I eat lunch as late as possible so that I can try to tide myself over. So usually what I do is I buy like a big sandwich or a big meal from New World Tortilla or something like that. I eat half of that as my lunch, and again I eat that as late as possible so that sometimes it can also be dinner if I decide that I want the whole thing. And then for dinner I'll either eat the other half of that or I will supplement with something I have in my room, and usually it's pretty not super substantial, like an apple with peanut butter or something like that.
Points in a points plan is not enough to live on. You have to have a lot of other stuff in your room or other food.
Late 2016, early 2017, there was a group of students, faculty, and staff who were put together in collaboration with the Wellness Center to try to look at the issue here at the University of Vermont. And part of that was because there's been a growing national conversation around food insecurity in higher education. The range of food insecurity from college students is about 14% all the way up to 59%. So the data that we found here at UVM was, if anything, on the lower end of what some of the other academic studies have found. That being said, it is higher than the US national average and the average for Vermont food insecurity as well. So in many ways our results were quite consistent with what other researchers had found. But it's still upsetting, it's still alarming to hear that members of our community, any number of members of our community, are food insecure.
So Swipe Out Hunger is a national nonprofit. It helps, it's an organization that helps colleges and universities develop essentially emergency food funds for students. And the program essentially works by students with meal plans can donate meal swipes, and those will go into a bank that will help students that are in need of meals. So it works differently depending on what university you're at, but we're really excited to be joining on to this, and we'll be launching, we're going to do our first drive this semester, next week, December 3rd through the 6th, and then next semester we'll start distributing those meals to students in need.
And we're working currently with VSTEP, Vermont Students Toward Environmental Protection. I think is what the acronym stands for, but it's one of our environmental clubs recognized by SGA, and we're partnering with them to do something that we're going to call Rally Cat's Closet and Cafe. It's awaiting approval. It's still kind of in the planning stages, but it's something that we hope to implement on campus next year. And ultimately what it's going to do is provide healthy and nutritious foods on campus for students for free to supplement their diet, as well as a cheap, affordable, donation-based thrift shop, which VSTEP already does.
At the end of the day, a food pantry is unfortunately just a band-aid to a larger problem. So trying to think more holistically about some of these challenges through financial aid, Also exploring opportunities for textbook cost reductions or online materials for students. It's another thing that we're working on. There's some graduate students who put together a report looking at what other institutions are doing around course material costs. So trying to look at some of the more systemic challenges that could be affecting this issue as well.